Bandits.
All right, hand over your valuables, or I'll gut you like a fish.
Criminals. Marauders.
Gibbering, flesh-eating, law-breaking, unemployed lunatics with guns.
And psychos.
The hunt continues, but yours won't.
Hello, fellow travelers, and welcome to the Hard Light Network. Villains of various occupations can be found plaguing society at every level.
Well, one of us has to do something.
I said no. No adventures, no theatrics, no thief chasing.
Well, what are you going to do then, huh? Let's hear it.
We are done talking about this. Oh, a customer. Sorry you had to hear that. Well, I don't know what you overheard, but the Riverwood Trader is still open. Feel free to shop. We did have a bit of a break-in. We still have plenty to sell. Robbers were only after one thing. An ornament, solid gold in the shape of a dragon's claw.
We are apt to meet bandits and thieves as oft as peddlers, Master. Be watchful.
From petty thieves to bloodthirsty warlords, bandits are probably the single most common foe we are likely to encounter in our travels anywhere in the multiverse. Very often, these people are nothing more than opportunistic thugs, highwaymen looking for easy money during a crisis, exploiting the corrupt and cowardly alike, and pushing around the weak and defenseless.
When the overseers come around with their questions about your suppliers, about the special trinkets you carry.
Are you coming tonight?
You know how the Abbey feels about that. What would they do if they knew you were selling carved up whalebone? Blasphemy. Who keeps them on your back?
Mama, I know what he does for me. For all of us.
That's right. He sends us out to risk our lives for you. But somehow, you're not grateful.
I can't afford what you're asking.
Then why do you take our protection?
You don't give me a choice.
It's the overseers who don't give you a choice. Just think about what they'll do if they find out what you're up to. Then let me know when you can give us the money you owe. Paolo just wants what's fair.
In other instances, people are driven to violence and madness due to their environment, regardless of whether or not their psychosis is the result of a widespread experimentation, or if they were just born into a post-apocalyptic hellscape. These characters are beyond reason, and wreak chaos wherever they have the misfortune of showing up.
I'm gonna sharpen my blade on your spine! The twin gods compel me! It seems the humans on Pandora are even more savage than the beasts.
Another prominent member in the ranks of these ne'er-do-wells are the politically motivated and organized terror cells, radical actors waging war on society at large, meeting police and military forces with explosive ordinance and guerrilla tactics. Wherever there is a man to be motivated either by greed or need, you will find bandits, marauders, and their ilk, and the line that separates them from regular people is easily blurred. For as varied as their presentation might be, the core reality of these characters is that they are the easiest enemies to empathize with, and as a result of our shared humanity, they are especially dangerous.
Adam, it's David. You got the Typhoon?
Yeah, but you were right about there being something more behind this. Because I've also got a dead purist in here with some pretty interesting cerebral implants.
Don't touch him. We'll need an expert to recover his neural hub, in case it's booby-trapped.
Copy that. What about Sanders?
SWAT's pressure me to let them off the leash. Find them before they do, and deal with them.
Don't lie to me! I don't want to hurt you. You're a civilian. But I will if you don't give me a choice.
If you didn't want to hurt anyone, you should have stayed home tonight.
Oh, look! Serif's attack dog! You're here to clean up before the police bust in? He thinks we're breaking the law. Shut up! All you body polluters break laws. You're all the same.
You're gonna have a hard time convincing people you're any different once they hear you had an AUG on your team.
What?
I found your attack dog in the factoring labs, trying to cut through security with his implanted hackware.
Nice try, Cholo. But I would never let one of you freaks on my crew. Back off, Hunter! I got business to take care of, understand? If what you say is true, and I'm not saying it is here, but I gotta check things out. So me and la vieja, we're leaving.
For the sake of this video, I thought it was best to break up these characters into two major groups. While each of these two groups will often find themselves opposed to the established order, their motivations vary enough to warrant distinction. So from here on out, we will refer to these groups as sympathetic criminals and indifferent criminals, respectively. The sympathetic criminal is a dark alternative to the hard-working and relatively peaceful townsfolk we brush past on our way to save the world, with many of them turning to banditry out of a sense of desperation rather than any purely malicious intention. A great example of the sympathetic criminal archetype would be that of the Thieves Guild from the Elder Scrolls series. Themselves inspired by the likes of Robin Hood, the Thieves Guild is reviled by the City Watch for their involvement in numerous crimes across the city, but their charitable nature and strict no-murder policy has endeared them to the poor. Sympathetic criminals don't necessarily have to be friendly to the player, but they are often charming and otherwise reasonable characters on the surface, garnering them as much respect as they do fear. Of course, none of this is to understate the criminal side of these characters, and regardless of how understandable their motivations and intentions may be, they often have no concerns using their influence and resources to extort businesses and expand corruption in local governments. The essential element of the sympathetic criminal is their humanity. While being capable of horrible and violent crimes, whatever rules they do follow are followed without question. Some may not steal from beggars, others may not involve women and children in their deeds, but all of them are as likely to stab you as they are to help you. The ability for the sympathetic criminal to exist on the fringes of society relatively freely attracts many would-be adventurers and vigilantes alike. Regardless of their criminal enterprising, the sympathetic criminal has a line that they will never willingly cross, and it's this restraint that ultimately differentiates them from their more sinister counterparts.
Somebody put plague in the brute tank. Half my men are weepers. Trapped 3 of them in the distillery. Rest are wandering in the street. Since it's so, and I find myself short of able bodies, I may have a point of interest for you, see? Way I figure it, there ain't nobody worth killing around here except those 2 Pendletons over at the Golden Cat. I'm right, ain't I? See, slack your nose. Them boys are twins. Rich, mean, and weird. Worse than most of their ilk. They've been laying low there a while, not sure why. There's a lot of security at the Golden Cat tonight, though. Special guests and the like. But you're gonna walk in there dressed like that and kill the Pendleton brothers? Maybe I got a better way to take care of them too. If you're doing something for me first, understand?
The indifferent criminal is another class of threat entirely. Among their number are the truly cold, depraved, and sadistic, with the most bloodthirsty and manipulative of their number occupying positions of rank, power, and authority over the lesser criminals under their influence. These characters will often seek total domination, whether it is through legitimate means or not. These characters have no remorse or reservations about committing atrocities in service of their goals. From the most subtle of lies to the butchering of the innocent, the defining characteristic of the indifferent criminal criminal is their lack of conscience, many of whom are so out of touch with what makes them human that, either through their insanity or narcissism, they cease to see themselves as such, and will retreat inwardly into those delusions. The indifferent criminal encompasses both the calculating serial killer and the deranged wretch, both lacking a thread of common experience to connect their psyche with that of the rest of humanity. Those rare specimens who are both utterly lacking empathy while retaining their charm and wit will often ascend to the very heights of prestige by means of clever manipulations. It isn't unheard of for the very highest echelons of society to be populated with at least a few madmen. No matter what form they take, the indifferent criminal represents man's unbridled ambition and capacity for chaos.
兄貴、次はこのお堂ですかい？いや、そこはいい。次に行くぞ。けんど、供え物でもあれば重蔵様に。なめんか。仏様には手出し無用。何度言えばわかるんだ、タコが。怒らないでおくれよ、兄貴。タコでごめんよ。
Maybe the reason our protagonists end up going toe-to-toe with other humans so often is because of a shared nature. While there are certainly examples of brave and morally upright protagonists, true heroes in their own right, there are many more examples of protagonists who are simply powerful champions, more akin to amoral avatars or apathetic demigods rather than genuinely good characters. Very often, it is easier for players to fill this role than the one of the spotless hero, and as such, we tend to overlook the crimes our own character may be committing in service of a larger agenda. Maybe there really isn't that much separating our characters from these villains after all. Our ability not only to empathize with, but also judge the actions of others is often tested by games, and the best examples will often include moral gray to obscure both the lighter and darker elements of our humanity.
よう旦那、あんたも火事場泥棒ですかい？旦那は見たとこ忍びですかね。何か探し物でも？まあ何にせよ、ここはあっしが先に見つけた場所でさ。よそを漁ってください。ああ、そういえばどっかの崖上に三重の塔が見えやしたぜ。あんだけご立派な塔だ。きっと中にはお宝がしまわれてるに違いねえ。あっしならそう思いやすね。
When traveling the multiverse, I've often found myself questioning the motivations of enemies along my path. It isn't just good characterization to make enemies more complex and grounded. It breathes life into the worlds we are exploring. As a lifelong gamer, it really is important for me to know the motivations behind the NPC's actions in the world. Why are they even there to interact with us? And what are they doing outside of combat? Though these details are not crucial to the overall function of the game, even the smallest details can add so much depth to these experiences, and priming ourselves to think in that way while playing will enhance our time spent with them. I challenge you, the next time you're playing a game and traveling the multiverse, to look for subtle elements of world building in the enemies placed throughout the world. What are they up to before you show up? Is there any dialogue you can overhear between them? Have they left any notes or journals laying around? All of these elements serve to build on that connection to the game's world and the characters in it. Changing how we look at the characters in these worlds could lead to insights about ourselves and help us make better choices for the world we live in.
That dark elf wants to go on ahead, let him. Better than us risking our necks.
What if Arvel doesn't come back? I want my share from that cloth.
Just shut it. Keep an eye out for trouble.
Don't leave me for RK's sake. You, over here.
You did it. You killed it. Now cut me down before anything else shows up. Yes, the claw. I know how it works. The claw, the markings, the door in the Hall of Stories. I know how they all fit together. Help me down and I'll show you. You won't believe the power the Nords have hidden there. Does it look like I can move? You have to cut me down first. Get me down! Get me down! It's coming loose. I can feel it. You fool. Why should I share the treasure with anyone?
What do you guys think? Do you have a favorite generic human enemy? Do you prefer going up against sympathetic enemies, or would you rather contend with the indifferent psychos? Leave your thoughts in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, leave a like, and until next time, love you guys, safe travels.